How's up, y'all? It's popping. It's D. About to react to this vid by courtroom. This is 5 suspects that confessed to murder in court. You would have to waterboard that out of me. I'm not admitting to anything. I don't care if you caught me red-handed. I don't care if there are photos, video footage. I don't care. I'm not admitting to anything. So there's that. Anyway, let's see them admit to what they did, though. Let's watch.
This is Scott Nelson, who is facing first-degree murder charges after killing a nanny in Orlando, Florida.
So you committed the worst possible crime.
Nelson was recently released from a 25-year prison sentence for a bank robbery. After he was let go from his painting job, he decided to plan another robbery. Nelson broke into a house with a knife where a nanny was working as a caregiver. He kidnapped her, threw her in the trunk, and drove to a local ATM so he could withdraw cash. Nelson then drove to a remote location and stabbed her to death before ditching her body and the car, where he was later arrested. On trial, Nelson argued that the government was to blame.
You bought zip ties?
Yes, I did.
You bought duct tape?
That'd be correct.
You bought a knife?
I sure did.
Oh.
I bought that material because I had a plan in mind of how I was going to survive being thrown on the street again.
Sorry, I'm not laughing at the situation, but that just, yep, I sure did. That's what happened. You're damn right. Like, you doing too goddamn much. He's sick in the head, obviously.
The third, or was it the fourth time by the government? And you know, you kick a dog enough times, they tend to bite back. And really, they just don't care anymore.
Nelson continues testifying, showing no emotion, and finally admits to the murder.
Somebody was going to pay for how you've been treated.
That is very accurate.
Wow.
Who killed Jennifer Fulford?
I did.
He took the stand during the penalty phase, and this is what he had to say.
How has your mental health been affected by your previous incarceration?
I am a homicidal maniac.
In the end, Nelson was found guilty of first-degree murder and was sentenced to life in prison.
Wow.
This is Donna Wright, who at 17 years old shot and killed a Pioneer High School student in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Wright and 2 others jumped and attacked the 18-year-old student in an attempt to rob him. While fighting back, he was shot in the head, and his body was left on a path until a maintenance worker found him. The boys were caught soon after and arrested. It was here Wright was supposed to have a pre-trial hearing, but instead, he admitted to the crime in return for a plea deal.
Did you in fact rob Jordan Fleet? Yeah. And did you use a gun to place him in fear in order to take his property? Yeah. And as a result of that armed robbery, what did you do with that gun and Mr. Jordan Fleet?
Shot him.
And where did you shoot him?
Top. Was he?
And did you kill him with that shot?
Yes.
Now, at his sentencing, the victim's family delivers a victim impact statement.
Your Honor, my name is Courtney Clay, and I'm Karen's cousin. She's asked me to read this on her behalf. I've lost my only child, my son, my baby, my friend. More than that, I've lost laughter and love. I no longer have the hope of having grandchildren. I've lost the enjoyment of holidays and birthdays and of everyday life. This year was supposed to be a year of celebration, of senior pictures with prom and graduation and parties. Instead, it was a nightmare. A nightmare that no parent should ever endure. There will never be an answer good enough to satisfy why you shot my son.
Wright can be seen smirking and seemingly showing no remorse.
Your actions have led you to a prison cell, but have also created an empty cell that I live in every day. While you can still hope to be released one day, I'll never escape my hell. You are still alive, but Jordan has no future.
And now, it's Wright's turn to address the court for his actions.
I just want to tell y'all I'll be home soon. R.I.P. Keon. I love my family.
And now the judge threatens to throw out the plea deal.
Watching you sit there and smile, and laugh, and shake your head like this was no big deal, I'm very tempted to just say I'm not going to accept this sentence agreement. We'll go to trial, and if you're convicted of felony murder, you'll go to prison for the rest of your life. That means you'll die there. That's what I'm tempted to do.
Laugh now,
After
bitch!
an hour-long recess, the judge and prosecution finally decided to accept the plea deal. He is currently facing a 25 to 52-year prison sentence. This is Jessica Groves, who along with her husband, Daniel Groves, are both charged with the murder of their own 2-month-old child in Portsmouth, Ohio.
Tell the jury how you killed this baby.
It was an accident.
Not your excuse. How did you murder this baby? How did you cause these injuries?
Reportedly, when the father found the child unresponsive, he later testified he didn't alert authorities because his wife threatened to blame him. That's when the child's body was found at the bottom of a 30-foot well inside a milk crate, wrapped in plastic. Reports found that the child suffered fractures to his skull, arms, ribs, and leg. The mother and father had initially pleaded not guilty, but in a shocking twist, Miss Groves takes full responsibility for the killing of the child.
Jessica, did you, and you only, cause the death of your son, Dylan Groves?
Yes.
Did Daniel Groves participate in the killing of Dylan?
No.
Was Daniel Groves aware of any of the injuries that you caused that may have led to his death?
No.
Did you hide all injuries that you caused Dylan from your husband?
Yes.
Prosecutors initially claimed they were both responsible for the child's death, and now they demand the truth.
How did you murder this baby? How did you cause these injuries?
I have sit here and admitted.
Answer the question, please. How did you cause these injuries?
It was an accident.
Not your excuse for what happened. How did you cause these injuries?
By dropping him.
How did you cause that first 2-inch skull fracture?
I don't remember.
Girl,
I've admitted to my guilt.
How did you?
And I have to live without my children. I'm done talking to you.
You are talking to me because you're sitting on a witness stand.
Period.
Tell them how you caused that injury.
Bitch.
Miss Groves is unable to remember how the child was killed, but she claims she is the
Remember
sole
it during
reason
your
for the
life,
child's
too.
murder and acted alone.
My client, Jessica Groves, was and still is a drug addict. There is no doubt about that fact. She and she alone caused the injuries to Dylan Groves.
Like crackheads don't kill babies.
She murdered Dylan Groves.
Groves was found guilty on all 11 counts and was given life in prison with no possibility of parole. Her husband was cleared of aggravated murder, but he was found guilty on the remaining 10 charges and was sentenced to 47 years to life in prison.
Woo.
This is Antonio Barbeau, who with his best friend Nathan Pop brutally murdered his great-grandmother in an attempted robbery in Sheboygan County, Wisconsin.
We got in, and then I looked to Nate, he nodded, and then I took the first swing.
Okay, and when you say that you took the first swing, it's with the hand axe?
Yes, sir.
The boys, who were both only 13 at the time, had intended to sneak up at his great-grandmother's and rob her. But upon showing up at the house, they were spotted and invited inside. She was attacked with a hatchet and a hammer, ultimately being struck at least 27 times until she died.
She started heading into the living room falling.
And as she was falling, did you strike her again?
I hit one more time as she was falling.
At any point, did you not have the hand axe during this incident?
Right after that, Nate took it and he used it, the blade side of it.
You said that he took off the sweater. By that, do you mean the sweater that you had given him?
Yes.
Why did he do that?
I think because it was getting in the way.
Getting in the way of what?
Him swinging.
They then stole $155 in cash and some jewelry before stealing the car and ditching
I was just thinking that. I was like, I don't want to make this assumption that she ain't got no money like that, but typically old people don't be having money, okay? They be broke. Alright? They be retiring and still broke. And you stole $155? You killed her. You killed your own granny, your own blood. For
at a local bowling alley, hoping to frame someone else for the crime. A few days later, both boys were arrested. Now in court, Barbeau takes the stand to testify.
We were going to try to scare her to get money and then use force if needed.
And when you say use force if needed, was there a discussion about what type of force you might use?
An attack, I guess to kill.
Barbeau pleaded no contest to first-degree intentional homicide as part of a plea deal where he was sentenced to life in prison with eligibility for parole in 36 years, where he would then be 50 years old. In his final statement, his lawyer had to finish his thoughts.
I know I don't show my emotions much. I myself am not sure why, but that doesn't mean I don't.
Nobody cares.
I took away someone's mother, grandma, sister, friend, when I had no right to do so.
Pop was sentenced to life in prison as well, but with a chance of parole when he's 45 years old. This is Michelle Blair, who was convicted.
She looks familiar. I just think of what type of life did they have that led them to do something so heinous.
Of murdering 2 of her own children in Detroit, Michigan. Blair would reportedly beat and starve her 4 children. Eventually, she found out her 9-year-old son was abusing her youngest son, and that's when Blair reportedly tortured her son for weeks as punishment, resulting in the child's death. Then Blair hid his body in the home freezer. 9 months later, Blair allegedly found out that her 13-year-old daughter was also abusing her youngest son. That's when she began starving her daughter and beating her until she died. Blair kept this a secret for 3 years, telling people that the kids were homeschooled or always out of the house. Eventually, police entered the house due to an eviction notice, where they found the children's bodies in the freezer, and Blair was arrested immediately, where she would shockingly confess to the judge.
You meant to kill her?
I definitely meant to kill her.
It wasn't an accident?
No, not at all. If I had a chance to do it again, I would.
Blair pleaded guilty to 2 counts of first-degree murder.
I confessed 3 times. I'm not going to stop saying what I did.
These are very serious charges with very serious consequences. If you were to plead guilty to a first-degree murder charge, that is life in prison without the possibility of parole.
I know this. I'm not going to come back like, oh, I didn't understand my rights. I'm not a coward.
And she was later sentenced to life in prison.
You're therefore sentenced to the Michigan Department of Corrections for the rest of your life without the possibility of parole, meaning, of course, that you will never get out.
Blair is currently serving her sentence at the Huron Valley Correctional Facility in Michigan.
Hey, I'm pretty sure I've heard of that story before because her face is very familiar and the details of that case I feel like I vaguely remember. But yeah, that's really fucked up. People are out here just sick in the head. It's so bizarre. Like, I can't imagine like what type of headspace you have to be in to commit these crimes. Like, what? Crazy. Y'all let me know what y'all think though. Let me know what other videos you want to watch and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.